High-intensity interval training, or HIIT, is often met with groans, even from seasoned exercisers. The short bursts of near-maximal effort can feel brutal, overwhelming, or simply uninviting. But interestingly, some people seem to thrive on it, even crave it. The difference often lies not in their physiology, but in their psychology, and more specifically, how their brains have adapted over time. New findings in exercise neuroscience suggest that the brain can learn to tolerate, and even enjoy, the discomfort of HIIT through gradual exposure and mental reframing. The key is not forcing intensity, but letting the mind adapt to it in manageable, structured ways. At the center of this adaptation is neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to rewire itself in response to repeated experience. When we first engage in HIIT, the brain interprets the rapid spike in heart rate, breathlessness, and muscular fatigue as a form of threat. This triggers activation in regions like the amygdala, which processes fear and stress and leads to the release of stress hormones like cortisol. That early reaction can imprint HIIT as something aversive, a survival response rather than a challenge to rise to. But with strategic, incremental exposure, the brain begins to reinterpret those signals. Instead of danger, it begins to associate high exertion with competence, mastery, and reward. One mechanism behind this transformation involves dopamine, the brain's motivation molecule. Every time you complete a tough HIIT round and recover, dopamine pathways light up, reinforcing the sense of accomplishment. These neural rewards build momentum and shift the emotional tone of the experience. With repetition, the discomfort becomes familiar, and familiarity breeds confidence. The brain stops reacting with panic and begins to respond with preparation. This process works best when intensity is introduced in small, psychologically safe doses. Rather than jumping into full-throttle 30-minute circuits, the brain responds more favorably to short bursts, perhaps 10 seconds of effort followed by a generous recovery window. These microdoses train not just the cardiovascular system, but the central nervous system to regulate breathing, manage sensations of burning or fatigue, and stay mentally present through discomfort. Each session becomes a lesson in resilience, with the brain slowly recalibrating its threshold for what feels tolerable or even energizing. Importantly, expectation plays a major role in how HIIT is perceived. If someone anticipates unbearable struggle, their prefrontal cortex primes the nervous system for avoidance and resistance. But when intensity is framed as a brief, empowering challenge, something that builds strength in both body and mind, the brain shifts its lens. Language matters, and internal dialogue can reshape perception. Saying, "This will pass quickly," or "This effort makes me stronger," is not just motivational fluff. It engages cognitive reappraisal circuits in the brain that can actively reduce perceived exertion and emotional discomfort. There's also evidence that interoceptive awareness, the ability to accurately perceive internal body signals, improves with repeated exposure to HIIT. That means people get better at distinguishing between distress and productive discomfort. Over time, gasping for breath or a rapid heartbeat becomes a signal of effort, not of emergency. This skill alone can dramatically increase one's tolerance for intensity and reduce anxiety about pushing limits. Beyond the workout itself, the psychological afterglow of HIIT plays a role in rewiring preference. Following high-effort bouts, the brain releases endorphins and endocannabinoids, neurochemicals linked to improved mood and reduced pain perception. These post-exercise highs create strong positive associations, making it more likely that someone will return to the stimulus. Over weeks of consistent exposure, the brain begins to anticipate, not dread, the payoff, and motivation becomes more automatic. In this way, learning to love HIIT isn't about changing your personality, it's about changing your brain's prediction model. The first few sessions may always be challenging, but with patience and intelligent pacing, the mental framing shifts. Intensity stops being an enemy and starts becoming a catalyst. It's a reminder of your capacity to grow, to withstand pressure, and to emerge sharper on the other side. Ultimately, high-intensity training offers not just cardiovascular and metabolic gains, but a chance to train the mind in adaptability and strength. By respecting the brain's natural learning curve, anyone can move from resistance to readiness, and even joy, in the face of intensity. The discomfort doesn't vanish, but your relationship to it evolves. And that shift, from fear to familiarity, is where transformation begins.